Talo whanau, talo whalawa malwele lei, nisampula vinaka, kia orana talo hani, and another Tamaki Health greetings to you all. Talo whalawa, and welcome back for another episode of the Hauora Chats by Tamaki Health with Elia Manaya Kaisara. Today, the 31st of May 2026, we mark World Smokefree Day, an important opportunity to tell more about smoking, vaping, addiction, healing, and supporting our ainga, our whanau, toward healthier lives. Smoking continues to impact many of our Māori and Pacific families, communities, and future generations. While smoking rates have declined over the years, inequities still remain, especially among Māori and Pacific peoples. Joining us today is Stephanie Erick, a Pacific public health leader and a communicator based in Tamaki Health. Stephanie has worked across community, churches, government and non-government health sectors, focusing on Pacific well-being, smoke-free futures, and culturally safe communication. She combines data, lived experience, and Pacific values to challenge how our systems show up for Māori and Pacific families while championing solutions led by the communities themselves. I would like to welcome Stephanie Erick to Hauora Chats. Talo whalawa. Whakalawhala atu, Steph.
Whakalawhala atu and talo whalawa. Thank you for having me.
No, thank you for coming on Hauora Chats. It is great to have a leader like yourself, Steph, to tell noa, especially because I believe this is one of your passions in the health sector.
It definitely is a passion. You know that it's a passion when you do things at the drop of a hat, when you're happy to do it in your spare time, when you find yourself working in this space voluntarily, you know it's a passion.
Yes,
so
yes.
That's how I've identified that. I've spent many years in public health, and right now I like to think of myself as a person who likes to work in the space of data, culture, and community. Those three things, I love them all.
Before we get into our talanoa, I'm pretty sure there's some key people that you would like to acknowledge. You know, in the smoke-free, especially in the journey to making Aotearoa New Zealand become smoke-free 2025.
That's really easy. So some of us may remember 2010, we had Dame Tariana Turia, you know, who had pushed this movement forward, but she had a lot of backing. There's the Hone Haraweras of the world, but I'll also push out a lot of our Pacific leaders. We had Colin Tukiatonga at the helm, you know, just every person's input, and even yourself, Lorenzo, myself, a lot of just advocates who were there, Shane Bradbrook, I mean, these are names, I'm sorry if I missed your name, Sky Kimura, I mean, there's lots of people. I remember we were a buzzing, passionate, small group of people, and I think, you know, that saying goes a long way. When there's a small group of passionate people and willpower, you know, things can happen and change can happen. And then there's also, it works on the flip side. When there's a small group of passionate people who don't want things to go well, they can derail things too, and we've had that experience as well. Okay.
Let's get into World Smoke-Free Day.
Yes.
While smoking has declined in Aotearoa New Zealand, Steph, vaping and nicotine addiction remain major concerns in Māori and Pacific communities. Why is World Smoke-Free Day important for our communities, Māori, Pacific, Aotearoa New Zealand, and the whole world?
It's a time every year to remind ourselves, hey, don't forget you were trying to quit last year. You didn't make it. Do it again this year. You know, it's just a nice triggering point. We shouldn't let these things go. And, you know, some people want to do monthly routines, but as a country, you know, 31st of May, it's been ingrained in me all these years because I worked in this space. I'll never let go of the 31st of May. I never book my holidays on the 31st of May, but 31st of May, whanau, you know, like if you have a family member, a neighbour, support them, love them, help them to get across the line and become smoke-free.
Now, smoking rates and community impact, Steph. We know smoking rates have dropped nationally, but Māori and Pacific communities are still disproportionately affected. Why do you think this is?
Yeah, it's a real shame that, you know, the smoke-free 2025 goal would have worked for everyone else except for Māori and Pacific. We need more effective policies and effective interventions that, from my view, for Pacific need to be Pacific-led and funded well, or just funded to the normal standard, you know, as how other, you know, like initiatives get funded. Fund them properly so that they actually work, and evaluate them properly, please. You know, we shouldn't be ashamed to say, look, you've been running your initiative for 3 years, no one's quit, let's stop funding you. You know, like, don't be scared. I mean, this is life and death.
What are your thoughts on the impact of smoking among Pacific and Māori families?
I think every Māori and Pacific person has a story. I have my own personal story. My mum's only sibling was a half sibling. He passed away with cancer, leaving behind grandchildren, taking with him all that cultural knowledge he forgot to share with his nieces and nephews. And, we're left with that pain, and grief is not something that goes away when the person passes away. It stays with us.
Yes.
And we carry that grief, and we shouldn't underestimate, the impact of grief on us. But who teaches us about grief? We don't learn about grief in school. And so we have to deal with it. And all of this extra burden on our communities can, be alleviated by good smoke-free measures. Smoking, eating well, exercise. The 3 key things to work together. Yeah.
While we're at that topic, can you share with us about second-hand smoking?
Boy, some super sad stories I've heard of, husbands who always wanted to think about their smoking, and then, their beloved wives pass away from second-hand smoke before they do. When I think about SIDS and, all these preventable deaths, this is what we're talking about, family. It's what we can do to prevent. But, smoking is so highly addicted, it's really hard for me to judge smokers in that way, and I won't. What I'll say is, how can we help you? How can we help? What's the best way to help you get over that line and be smoke-free?
And having said that, Steph, there are contributing factors. What do you say about the social and environmental factors that contribute to smoking rates among Pacific and Māori?
It doesn't help when you can buy cigarettes at every corner, dairy, gas station, supermarket, they're all available. 6,000 stores across New Zealand. 6,000, and in the last smoke-free action plan, we were hoping to reduce that to only 600. I mean, it's all about accessibility. And you spoke about vaping. Well, now, I don't need to tell you this. Our experts in the community can tell you right now, look at all the vaping shops that have popped up. But this is old kōrero from years ago. They were schools, parents have complained about this. And so it's something that you can talk to your MP about. Bring it up and think about how you can reduce the number of vaping shops in your community.
Speaking of vaping, do you think vaping is a pathway to becoming smoke-free or not?
Oh, that's really tough because, I meet, plenty of families who are so happy that vaping came through because it meant that their auntie who had been smoking for 30, 40 years is now finally smoke-free. I have an auntie I was talking to just on Saturday at Hakupu Fest, a Niue Big Festival, and she was saying to me, I'm still vaping. She's so proud of herself because she's not smoking.
Yeah.
And she actually looks better, feels better, and can contribute. My problem, though, is the massive increase of youth and young people smoking. And now what we've created in New Zealand is a generation of nicotine-dependent children. That's what we've got right now. So that's got to be a focus. And that's something that we need to put priority on, is to cut that.
There's got to be a legislation around this.
100%. That's and you're now the new expert. You're the new expert. We do.
Hey, do you think vaping is a long-term solution to becoming smoke-free or not?
Because I used to think that, because I saw so many people who were so addicted, tried every single thing they could, and only vaping could help them. That was great. But now I'm seeing so many young people addicted to nicotine. And New Zealand have the highest vaping rates amongst Māori, and one of the highest vaping rates worldwide. Just to give you an example, we understand there's about 30% of Māori are vaping daily or smoking, right? Compared to in the US where the rates are around 4.5%. And yet in the States it's highly regulated. We need to get more effective laws and regulation, but effective ones. Not
The
just
one that
ones that are
protects-
written up, but ones that actually protect our young people. And I'm really scared about vaping because of the stealthness.
Yes.
Not just the stealthness of our young people who can quickly have a vape in class or, I'm not just talking about the vapors, but I'm actually talking about the industry.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the lobbying. I'm talking about the stealthness around the whole thing. And the outcome is just a generation of nicotine-dependent children. How are we going to deal with that? Because back in 2010, the Ashia 10 survey showed us that our Māori and Pacific children were below 5% with daily smoking rates. If we're just stuck with that, just kept smoking only available in New Zealand, the outcome might have been a bit better.
What concerns you most about the rise of vaping among young Pacific people?
My concern is that being nicotine dependent. My other concern is that the self-determination for Māori to be nicotine-free, because that was actually where they were all going with the smoke-free journey. It wasn't just to be smoke-free, it was to be nicotine-free. And at that time, when the Smoke-Free 2025 vision came through, that's what they were trying to do, reduce nicotine dependency. So now we have our young Māori and Pacific children who, when you're nicotine dependent, if you've ever had that, the withdrawal, it's a barrier to the success and the advancing of Pacific people. It definitely is a barrier, the cost. My other fear is that it's so easily accessible.
True
so
that.
many young people can access a vape. So many young people can afford the vape. We're broke. There's a lot of our communities are broke. Yeah, exactly. And the other thing is that it's so attractive.
It is,
They're far better looking than cigarettes. They don't stink like smokes.
The smoke,
Yeah, exactly. They, you can get little vapes that suit your colour, one that suits your jacket. It's different.
The flavours.
Flavours, there's a range of them. And so those are all the concerns I have. They're still too attractive. Even with regulation, we have regulation now to make sure that you don't have vapes that look like toys. Make sure you don't have too many bubble gum, dragon blood flavours and all these sorts of things. But that's not enough. We really have to think about, we don't want New Zealanders to be a nicotine-dependent New Zealand. We don't want that reputation. That's not part of our identity.
Nope.
And this is that whole thing about data, culture and community for me, because our culture, we need to be, that green, clean, fresh Aotearoa that all the Pacific people came here for milk and honey and all that kind of jazz. We need to get back to that, get back to our roots. Can we go back to that? We didn't come here for the nicotine and the vaping. We came here for the milk and honey. Gotta get back to those basics. And the way the world is turning, we can't be distracted by these things,
Now, seeking support, Steph, why is it important for people to seek support instead of trying to quit alone?
There's very, very good science behind this, that with nicotine, that are in both cigarettes and in vapes, when you quit, you will be suffering your withdrawal symptoms, okay? And so that's why we have lozenges, patches and gums to help people to get through it. And so they say that if you use good NRT, it will help reduce the craving and the withdrawal, just to make it a bit more easier.
Urge.
Yeah, the urge and all of that. But you've got to know how to use it properly. Because some of our people are just, chewing the gum like chewing gum. You've got to chew it, park it properly, hold, and there's a little bit of a technique behind it.
So there's a little bit of education around that,
Please. And that's why it's good to have a professional stop smoking practitioner to help you, and they're available. And we have Pacific services that are funded. The Whanau, South Seas, Tangata Otumotu Trust in the South Island, Pacific Health Trust.
Living Smoke-Free, Miramore Hospital is one.
Hospital, Tākiri Mai in Wellington,
And GP services.
Pacifica. Please ring them, and because they are funded to specifically have stop smoking professionals to help you. So they'll be a professional friend. A lot of us, we know our families. We've asked friends to help our sisters. But the problem is not all of them are professional. They might just say, have a cigarette. Reduce your stress. But no, let's think seriously about this. And, get
Thank
support.
you, Steph. Seeking support still, we've talked about getting support from support services, from GP services, like local doctors.
Yes.
But families, it comes down to your village. Now, what role does a family, churches, even our communities play in helping someone to quit smoking?
Huge role. Anyone who's been to a church, like our ministers hold a lot of power, and, they can really make a difference within their churches. Say, hey, let's be smoke-free. That's one thing. But hey, do it and save all that money for your offering. Put it into your outreach at church. Come on, guys. That's what we were here for. This is why we meet every week, to do good for others. So that's one thing. That's the church as well. Sports groups. You all know about it. It can give you that professional look. It's good for your health. So that's great. But for families, I always think of... Leale Lipule, Edward Cowley.
Yes.
And his family story, his dad, he says the story all the time, his dad passed away from smoking. So as a family, they all quit. As a family, supported each other to be smoke-free, in remembrance of their dad, because smoking took him away from them.
Yeah.
But, every family's different. So you do it the way that whatever works for your family. But people need family.
But I also believe, Steph, that I think the best way to quit smoking, and this is something that all our dads and mums, I encourage you to do it, is to do it for your kids, right?
Yeah, 100%. And also talk to your auntie or uncle who quit smoking, or any family member, because you know what? Lived experience is expertise.
That's right.
That's an expertise. And so this is where I love the community. This is what, so data, you've got researchers, you've got all that journal articles, you've got all that evidence, you've got culture, because, our culture has come from many, many, many generations of learnt behaviour and answers and solutions. We've got all of that. But community is for the today, the lived experience in today's context. Ask them, how did they quit? And ask them to support you.
NRT and quitting smoking. We're going back to NRT,
Yep.
the nicotine replacement therapy. Can you explain? You mentioned it, but for our people out there who have no idea or a little knowledge about what NRT is, what is NRT?
Yeah. Nicotine replacement therapy is simply is there to help a person wean off the nicotine. So by using gums or patches or lozenges and so forth, it's about putting in some nicotine into your body so that your body doesn't drop the level of nicotine in it so suddenly that it starts having withdrawal symptoms. So it just helps to ease that edge. And so you'll basically have, if you were using the patches, it releases an amount of nicotine in you. Why you need a practitioner to help you is that they will give you the right amount of nicotine that should be going into your body, depending on the number of cigarettes you smoke. It's not easy to quit smoking. I don't know if I'm not an expert in saying that.
Yes.
People can tell you that simply. It's not easy. So try and have a lot of things around you. Move the ashtrays. Don't charge your vape. If it's smoking or vaping that you're trying to quit.
Yeah.
Like help yourself. Find other things to do.
What advice would you give to someone who has tried to quit smoking multiple times but keep relapsing?
I want to say to you, well done on trying. Thank you for that. That's a wonderful effort. And so you might want to try and ring someone to give you a hand. I think go hard and try every year. Here's a little tip. If you can quit smoking or, not smoke for a whole month, 4 weeks, the science is that you are more likely to be successful if you can quit. Just go for 4 weeks, to be solid on those 4 weeks. And so World Smokefree Day, change that to World Smokefree May. See that play with it? Make it a month, because that's kind of 4 weeks, and give it your best shot. Hey, you can go online, just Google up Hapaiti Hauora. They've got a whole month of activities. Go and see if you can get any freebies on there. Connect with somebody. But it is your journey. And think about the money you'll save. Think about, the well-being of yourself. But most of us, we leave that to the last minute. I know life can be stressful, but keep trying. I'm working on my diet and drinking more water, and I'm suffering with that. So, I know that, the struggles are real. Life is hard. But if you can go for 4 weeks, you are far more likely to be successful.
The Samoan phrase is true. The solutions are within our community. Is that right?
100%. That's why one of my keywords is community. It's not last because it's not important. Actually, should be community, culture, then data. But the solutions are with our community. So reach out, families. Reach out to your loved ones.
Final comments from you, Steph, about the World Smokefree Day, and also to wrap up our Talanoa on Hauora chat today. For anyone listening in who wants to quit smoking or vaping, what would you say to encourage them right now on the 31st of May?
Yep, the fact that you've thought about it, well done, congratulations to you. That's the start. So now that you've thought about it, turn it into action. Once you're smoke-free, the next thing you're going to do is you're going to lose that weight. Then your next goal is to look 10 years younger. You're going to get that. If it's going to be buying a house, getting a job. Yeah, you are just teaching yourself how to achieve your goals. So go ahead and do it, It's smoke-free. It's just not about the cigarettes. You've got to think about what how it's going to change you as a whole person, as a being. And trust me, it is good. You will feel the liveliness. You're going to feel more energy. Smoking basically cuts off the oxygen that goes to your brain. So you wonder why you're tired, you need extra coffee, you need another cigarette. But it does do that. It might help take away some other pains, but it will introduce new ones. So the best thing to do is just to bite the bullet, quit. I wish you all the best in your journey. I love this podcast. Well done, Lorenzo, for having this podcast, because communication is an intervention in itself. We need to keep talking.
Yes, we do. We need to keep having that talanoa. Steph, you are a proud Niuean here in Aotearoa, New Zealand. Would you like to say something in Niuean for the people of The Rock?
Whakalowhalea te ki mo tolu ki he ngoa ko Yesu Kristo whakawelahi ki he tau whakanongononga e ahu nei. And I just want to say, whingita atu to all your families and everyone trying to be smoke-free. Whakawelahi.
Thank you so much, Stephanie, for joining us today and for sharing your knowledge, experience, and heart for our communities. World Smokefree Day is a reminder that becoming smoke-free is possible and no one has to do it alone. Support is available through your GP, local smoke-free services, health providers, churches, and communities, and also your ainga. Every step toward becoming smoke-free is a step toward better health, stronger families, and healthier futures for our next generation. Once again, thank you everyone for tuning in to Hauora Chats by Tamaki Health with Li'ama Naya Kaisara and our lovely guest, Stephanie Erick. Please like, share, and continue to talanoa in your homes and communities. God bless you all, and happy World Smoke-Free Day 2026. Hauora Chats are powered by Tamaki Health, the team behind White Cross, local doctors, better online doctors, and Connect Radiology. When you enroll with any clinic in our network, you unlock access to all our urgent care clinics, including 3 that are open 24 hours and a 24/7 online care with better.co.nz. For more affordable healthcare delivered when and where you need it, enroll now at localdoctors.co.nz or whitecross.co.nz. Tamaki Health, the people's primary healthcare provider.